call to order the meeting. Approval of the May minutes. Right? April minutes, I'm sorry.
May was the meeting that we had canceled.
April minutes. We didn't have a team meeting.
I'll
So
move
moved.
to approve.
Huh? Okay. Approved.
Do we have a second? With Joe?
Yeah,
Okay.
second.
Yeah.
Who was first then? I thought Joe was first.
Okay. We're going to do introduction of new commission members. Start here with Dave.
Yep, so my name is David Smith. I run a CPA firm just down the street at 220 West Lockwood. We've been in that location for about 3 years, but the business itself spans about 30 plus years, primarily in the Brentwood area. I grew up in Webster Groves on Gore Avenue and lived out of town for a few years after college. But my wife and I, we live on Gray Avenue. Built the greenhouse about 9 years ago. Happy to be part of the groups.
Dave, can you just wave so everyone knows out of the bunch who you are? There we go. All right. Where do you want to go next, Rod?
I'll start with me. Ron Clip, I'm the owner of the Hub Bicycle Company. Webster resident.
I'm Dan Warner. I have owned a couple businesses in Webster Groves for about 30 years. And owned a few buildings in the old Webster area directly. I've lived in Webster Groves about 40 years. I'm really happy to be able to be part of this group to help make some decisions for our area.
Joe Reyes, I was with Acme Printers. I've got JMR printing now, and I run the Jazz Fest still, and that's about it.
And full of knowledge, all the knowledge.
Joe's my favorite guy. He's on my speed dial. Eric Peterson, Assistant City Manager and Staff Liaison here to the Business District.
Karen Drexler, one of the co-owners of Story 7. Been in Webster now for about 3 years. A Glendale resident, loving Webster. It's been a lot of fun being here, and the community's been a great fit.
I'm Fran Sudicum. I'm the support the commission.
I'm Officer Rasul. You call me Amar if you like. I'm a business liaison for the department, and also I handle parking and then traffic in Webster.
Stacy Swiderska with Paisley Boutique, lifelong Webster resident. And that's about it. I've been on taxing for probably
Long time.
8 years.
Margaret.
Okay, I'm Margaret Stevens. I'm with the Ozark Theater. I don't currently live in Webster, although my husband and I lived here for approximately 10 years, and I went to high school at Nearings Hall. So I know the area.
Bill. You
Hey,
there?
gang, Bill Newhouse, Shelter Insurance Companies, and welcome everyone.
Am I next?
Yeah, Emerson, you're next.
Emerson Smith, I'm the council liaison.
Okay. Visitors' comments.
None,
Awesome.
none planned.
Right,
We don't have any visitors.
That's good. Okay, old business. Rooftop lighting update.
Olive and Oak has been completed. So that is, they are lit now. So we will reached out to Maury to be in contact about moving on to his business next. And then C9 bulbs are ordered, as I was talking to Dan, for replacements for his bulbs, and then we'll have a stock of some left. For those who don't know, the business district runs a rooftop lighting program. So you've seen the rooftop lighting on some businesses. Old Webster Business District does a 50-50 split with the business for the cost. Old Orchard does a full cost borne by the business district, just giving you all the information there. So that is my update on rooftop lighting.
Okay, lamp post electricity access. quotes.
I'll just knock through 1, 2, 3, C, B, B, C, and D. I do not have the quotes yet, although Yvonne says she has the quotes, but she hasn't given them to me. So
Okay.
with July 4th and some of the changes in staffing, just
Right.
fall through the cracks. And so we connected late yesterday and she said she will get them. And as soon as I have them, I will send them to Fran to send them out to the whole group to look at. And we can make a decision in July.
To give some of the new members
What's a
update.
District kiosk.
Pardon me?
What's a district kiosk?
So district kiosk is something we were considering, are still considering doing, putting a kiosk where the entrance to the parking garages going over towards Layla's and such. There's an area right there that we had designated that we thought that a kiosk could be a good idea, possibly a lit kiosk. There are some sign ordinances we would have to go through a little bit to get that passed. We're still in flux on, is that worth it? Is it a good expenditure? So that's kind of where we are.
What does a kiosk do?
A kiosk is gonna be like, it's
Information.
yeah, informational signage to help direct people a little bit better.
Kind of like you are
possibly.
here and then. show you
Exactly,
where
right,
you're
exactly.
In the airports.
Right.
Can I make a suggestion? There's a sign post with 4 blank
Right.
signs in it.
Right.
I thought since nobody has bought those or however we were going to use for signage, why not promote the upcoming events in the area?
We'd have to get the signs produced for that, which we could do, of course.
They're sort of repeating, though, aren't they? Like every third Thursday, there's the ladies' night shopping. You can have just like the Jazz Fest, street dance. You could set up the upcoming yearly annual kind of events that we have.
Right.
And that way, anybody walking by on Tuesday in April will see, oh, look what's coming up this year.
Mhm.
You know, or else we could take it down, because otherwise. it
Right,
really
we do
doesn't
need to
serve
do
a
something about this. Somebody hit the sign or some kids stole the sign or
purpose. Missing
something.
the very top.
Right, exactly. And so we were talking to, I forget exactly who it was, the sign company, was it Adler? They put those in many years ago, but they since have quit doing that exactly. So yeah, we're in a little bit of flux, but it does need, something needs to be done one way or the other. 'Cause it does not look good.
Yeah, well, it's just, it could be used more effectively.
Right, exactly. The other areas that we were talking about, just for the new members, lamp post electricity. We were trying to see how much the cost, all the lamp posts in the district. We would like to have some electrical outlets on them. We've had this quoted before, and it was a lot of money because it's a 2-wire system, which is not a standard
It's a
system.
220 system.
220 system. And so it's and maybe things have changed over the last 10 years since the last time we had this bid out, but we were trying to look into what the costs are going to be to get a couple electrical outlets on a couple of the poles, possibly to make it easier to do certain things.
Lighting during Christmas.
Right. Mhm.
Bands, like when we have bands too, like.
Oh, you mean provide outlets for a band to play on the sidewalk?
Possibly.
Possibly. And then the last thing we do is the new benches. Our benches in Webster are in a little bit of disrepair. They're not all totally gone, but if you go look at them, if you ever have time, they're 4 or 5 boards and each one are cracked. We've talked about consolidating the good boards, putting those on some of the less used benches, and then redoing all the benches. These things are not so inexpensive. The benches are ridiculously expensive for some reason, but that's what life is. So we're
Just the metal trash cans, to give you a sense, the metal trash cans cost about $1,000.
and that's not, yeah.
And that's if you buy them in bulk.
Yeah,
That's
that's
not if
a
you buy them
multiple order.
individually.
Yes, yes. The shipping cost on them are
Insane.
insane.
And there's a backup there too, because the cans you ordered, that we ordered in this budget in last August, beginning of August. We just got noticed they'll probably arrive somewhere in the next 4 to 6 weeks. So it's almost a year to get trash cans in. So
Is that because of COVID or is that just
I
typical?
think all of it, supply chain, what's the,
I mean, is is it always like? that?
no, we wouldn't expect
I
that
know.
kind of. Like our Christmas decorations, we ordered in March to make sure we have everything. For this coming Christmas, so.
No. Those are.
I should say
scheduled to be here
holiday
proper,
decorations.
as like
Yes.
in time, right? Okay.
They've come to our shop.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any questions on those 3 items right there for the rooftop lighting?
I gotta figure out, we gotta talk about that lighting, or does that switch to the full block? Oh,
It was on last night. 12:30.
because I turned all the switches off before. Okay. Well, we might have a few, as we do construction.
Mhm.
I would throw something out too. Eric had mentioned they've gone to C7s and all the existing ones are C9s. Make sure that what we put in is consistent. If we're gonna put new lights in, do we want to be consistent with the existing lights or are we changing? Do they look different is why I
Yeah,
asked
because
about.
some of them do look yellow and some of them do look
Well,
white.
the yellow ones, of course, are a little bit older
Okay.
LEDs, so they all should be LEDs. And I mean, they all do look a little bit different. When I drive through the district and look at the trees versus the buildings, of course, they look a little bit different. I still think they look great. I don't know what the difference between a C7 and a C9 bulb is. If you,
Size.
I know that, but I'm just saying,
Like
is it a LED when it's up there? They all 1.5 watts and they all look the same, so that may not matter except for the size of our holders, which we'll have to adapt to that. So I know when driving home last night, building from your side all the way east is out again. It was staying on pretty well, actually, but
Is it because I keep turning the switch off? Because that's what.
I don't know if it is that or not. It should not be.
it could be. We don't know what's
Sounds like-
causing it.
Because it just depends on who's in there, you know what I
Right,
mean?
yeah, you could, you could put piece of
Yeah.
red tape over that one,
Yeah.
does it
Yeah,
control
I
other
just-
things?
Well, it's the
Joe?
only switch we have on, but it's the only one that we like plug the fans into, but if I've been mopping and cleaning and
Right.
so.
Mhm.
I've been turning the switch off just. Because it
Not
makes
to
me
get
nervous
electrocuted?
to not be there. Yeah,
Right.
yes.
Well, they were on last night.
Okay.
We've had some problems with those lights in the past where we've had
They've shorted out with.
any weather at all.
Okay.
But we did have a couple really good rains where they were still staying on.
Maybe we should have a side meeting about this, so I just can. Figure that
so.
There's 3 of you on that block right there.
Yeah.
Anytime you're up on the roof, you can just go hit that
It's a
button.
lot of pressure to be in charge of this whole lighting.
I do it, yeah, I do it all,
Wait till you get
I've been
jazz
doing
fest.
this a little bit, I've had a little
You
bit
know,
of
that comes
problems
with
right now,
buildings.
so.
Oh.
they're
Yes.
more than-
I think Josh realized that when he had to go in for cleaning the street again the other day, he's like, I think we accidentally signed up for a lot of things.
Okay, on-street parking.
On-street parking. So the Traffic Advisory Commission is the body that will meet to talk about a plan that Captain Perks and I have looked at, about a couple spaces designated as the 15-minute curbsides. There has been a request, as I think all would expect, from one business, and I don't need to name it, but you can all guess who's got 3 on one street through Old Webster, to talk about leasing spaces to do essentially proprietary pickup zones. Which the city can do. I'm not saying we're going to do, I'm just saying putting all those things on the table. So the Traffic Advisory Commission is the place that will start that conversation. I expect, if Captain Perks' schedule is right, that will be in July. So as soon as we have that meeting, that commission meets and they go and they talk about, the impacts of traffic and parking and such. I expect that to be in the July meeting, maybe in the August. Just depends on, they're dealing with a load of around Webster Park and high school parking issues that they're starting with, so. But I did want to make you aware that if we've received 0 direction from the council. We haven't, no one has said, yay, we should lease out spaces, or hell no, we shouldn't lease out spaces, but that's an option that's on the table as something that the city can do. And some cities do that, right? You do lease out parking spaces. That obviously impacts the whole district. So that's why it would go through the commission, and it would obviously be brought to this district as well, if that's going to be an opportunity that arises. So,
Yeah, my personal belief, I would not like to see us start leasing spaces to private businesses. I'm not trying to say don't mind them having one for pickup for stuff, just like some other one, but 3, and that's just gonna create a whole, another restaurant, why can't I have at least 4 space, and then pretty soon we have no parking.
and
So-
you get to leases ultimately in the city using an asset. I'll turn around. We have extra chairs because we have new chairs at the table. I mean, we can't even give chairs that we don't think have a value to a nonprofit. That there needs to be a whole process for a city asset, a public asset, to be utilized by other folks. So there is a whole bidding process that would have to go into leasing and such like that.
Right.
So I'm not saying that this is a yes or no. I
Right.
just wanted to make you aware that conversation has arisen.
Okay. Okay, district revenue update.
This, I do have a nice update for you all. I had sent last month, I'll share my screen here. I sent last month our revenue update, and obviously we didn't meet, so I'll bring you a different one, which is right there. We get this out of the way so you all can see. So on the screen, you should be able all to see, this is your budget, your whole budget revenue and expenses for this current fiscal year, which ends on Friday, July 1. As you can see, you're at 152% of revenue, which is a good sign for us. Obviously, this budget was written still during the impact of COVID, right before I got here last year. Here are your property taxes, and you can see you're at 87% of the budget, 40,000, just about 41,000 taken in so far, right in line with where you were last year at this time. I want to be clear about taxes of any type. Even though the fiscal year ends at the end of June, we won't know the finals until August because most of the revenue flows to the state or the county and then flows to us. So we'll get June revenue into us in the beginning of August by the time it flows through that. So we never really close out the year until we're in August. But you do have solid returns here. This is a much more real-time number. Your business licenses, you had budgeted 30,000, we're at 45,000. So 15,000 over. So this has certainly changed the arc of your, revenue. This 6,000 right here, you didn't just surprisingly someone give you $6,000, but we did an audit of business licenses because I noticed some issues. A couple things. One, some businesses, as I mentioned, had not paid business licenses that for some years from fine upstanding business folks, and so. We did approach that question and solve that, but also then look back at the last couple of years and accounting had been billing some of your business license revenue into general fund business license revenue. And obviously to ensure that the fund was made whole and that your revenue that is intended for you got there, we put it in this line to represent, so it didn't get commingled in with the business licenses. So we expect to see, barring an economic downturn of a way, somewhere between 42 to 48 in this coming year of business licenses and this performance. This is the makeup of past errors and also some delinquent business licenses being booked in.
Eric, can I
Yep.
ask a question?
Yep.
We're up 50% on business licenses. Can you just generally say, I mean,
Sure.
new businesses have come into that?
So
level?
you've got a couple new businesses and you also, so a couple of those in this number, if there is a business that hadn't booked a business license in a couple of years. So their past and their delinquent part was down here in miscellaneous,
Okay.
but their new addition is here. And remember, business licenses work on gross receipts, right? So we have, certainly we've all talked about this. I am looking at that whole process and how we can estimate and make it easier. But we've also gone back to some folks and said, okay, your gross receipts are far exceeding based on your tax return, what you've actually paid to the city. And so we need to true that up. And, that's not been a confrontational atmosphere, but it has resulted in people paying the true amount of their business license. So.
Is that through an audit the city did or?
Yeah, we do. We simply do that out of an audit. Sometimes folks come in, especially a new business, they don't have any gross receipts, right? They're making a complete estimate and then we come back and we'll, as they file their renewal, okay, now you're showing us gross receipts far exceeding the estimate that happened. This is an area of the finance department that historically in the city has really been moved in a lot of ways to planning and development, but under the code, it's actually finance that issues business licenses. I think you all get it with my signature on it. So, I've taken a much more hands-on approach to that, as well as because, and I'll explain this in our city update, the state's taking a very close look at business licensure and how things work in certain businesses. So we'll get to that, Mark.
Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing that.
And then when we were doing the budgets and such, we tried to be very conservative.
Based
On
on
the
the
numbers.
pandemic numbers and out and then coming out of pandemic numbers is what we're seeing. Good.
So that's your revenue. Did you want to review expenses too, Ron, since we're here?
We could.
Yeah.
Eric, what's the transfer down?
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you. That's a great question. So the fund, Old Webster is a separate fund because you have special revenue. So you're a special revenue fund. There are park staff and business that you all have happened, the flowers, the pots, the things like that, the labor of watering, the snow plow that comes through, the sidewalk snow plowing that happens during the winter. That staff is all paid from the general fund. So transfers, you make a transfer from Old Webster to the general fund for that staff at that time. That transfer, all of our transfers at the city are a revenue negative when it's a transfer out. So they're not an expense, they're in the revenue side. So we're operating transfer as a revenue out rather than an expense out of the books.
So is that 40,950? That is what we've paid to the city's general fund
That is correct. And so,
to maintain Old Webster, basically.
so in this year's budget, there's a number and it's split across, there's a formula we put in about your property value and the size of the district and the revenue. And then, so the three districts all pay a prorated share of it's a total of about $108,000. So you're at 40, Old Webster's, their Old Orchards, just a tad bit more, I believe, and then Crossroads is the smallest. And we make that transfer in December. So in December, whatever the budget says is the transfer, that transfer gets made in
So
December.
Eric, I was reading the bylaws of the setup of this commission. And it was my understanding that like general maintenance of the city wasn't supposed to be borne by this commission. Is that like special?
This is,
So-
Maintenance or otherwise?
this
That
is
is
in general,
the-
it's more like beautification stuff that like,
It's flowers, the.
Things that aren't necessarily a part of the regular.
And we don't plow sidewalks that aren't. So
yeah, so like, when it's actually the business owner's responsibility to shovel their own sidewalk. And we have and not many businesses do, but if it's like an inch or two, or they're supposed to shovel their own sidewalks, which
Okay,
they're
so
supposed to, but when it's
we-
4 or 5 or 6 inches, the city gets their little bobcat plow thing out, and because there's
And
businesses
there's
won't move that
one
much.
path,
So,
one width through the district.
And it's not snow plowing the streets.
no,
no, it's the sidewalks.
The
So,
sidewalk.
yeah.
So, and then we look at, obviously, when you look outside, like the lamp posts with banners, those historic types of things, streetscapes. Most of that around the rest of the city infrastructure doesn't have that. So the fund has over the years paid for those types of investments. In some ways, city is often kicked in on that as well, city general fund or other funds.
By far our biggest expenditure. Of course.
On the expense side, you're doing just fine. Disposal services have gone up, public, God bless them. And all three districts are paying more for their recycling bins. So you're at 130% there. All the other pieces of the budget are in line. I don't know, we may have some more street dance bills that I'm not aware of yet. Probably do, which is fine, we got money for it. But we'll be closing, by this time next month. If you have any bills for Old Webster, they should all be in and they should be taken out of this. So you're looking at 86% of your budget right here. Again, your budget expense total was 46,249, and you have, excuse me, that's a year-to-date total. Your budget total was 55,620. You got 7,700 left. This time last year, you had spent 53,000. One thing that will change, and you'll see this in the budget, we'll send you, the budget's been adopted, is we have moved, your budgets used to be headquartered in planning and development. With the sort of the relocation to finance, we've moved to just new codes. It won't change anything that you do, but you'll see it under general government finance and administration. So.
Okay, any other questions on that?
Okay.
Okay, district OS, we just did that. Sorry, new business, street dance feedback.
We had a tremendous show up for the street dance. I mean, I believe it was 50% more people than we've ever had in the past. Something there.
It was as good as we've ever had.
I mean, it was
What
way,
time did
way
it start getting busy?
Early.
early. Oh, yeah. I mean, people were setting up blankets and such by 4 o'clock.
Oh, wow.
Really early turnout. So
And they stayed the entire night.
Yes.
just built from there.
They were bleeding
Yeah.
into the side streets. People were
Oh.
sitting on Moody, couldn't see anything, but there was still,
Dancing.
All
Well, in the
restaurants were
weather, there was
happy.
no tornado this year.
Yes.
yeah, no
No
storm.
excitement.
There's usually is.
Yeah, they're usually
Oh, yeah.
lightning at least.
The weather was absolutely perfect. It cooled down some that day and the humidity was lower. It was fabulous.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Joe.
Hey, Jazz Fest update.
And Joe again.
This is why Joe can never leave the commission.
Things are moving along. We've got both stages booked. One slot open still. But that's, we're hoping to get the Army band from Fort Leonard Wood. And they have not yet committed. But otherwise, both stages are fully booked. We've got Aaron Bodie on Allen and Marquis Knox again on Gore. And just, I think it absolutely fabulous. Probably one of the best lineups we've ever had.
Well, we're anticipating that same response that we saw at the street dance. It's gonna be weather dependent, you know. We've often said we can plan everything perfectly, but if the weather isn't good that day, it won't matter. But if we get the weather, we're gonna have a very large crowd. The lineup's excellent. We're at about 37,000 committed sponsors. We probably are 3,000 to 8,000. We're from where we need to be, so I have to get busy with that. But
Is that dollars or number of
Dollars.
sponsors?
dollars,
Okay,
yeah.
so 37,000 sponsors, that's
Oh,
pretty.
What's the event date?
$1 each.
September 17th. And we need all the volunteers that we can get. And then some.
Tom, March and I started about 5.
Counts me great.
There's lots of chairs.
Already had to volunteer for this.
Now you're starting to figure out why you were.
This year should be a little easier setup than in past years, in that the 2 stages we have, both stages take an hour to set up instead of 4, which will be a big help on getting everything going Saturday morning.
What's the net financial impact to the commission? Is it break even?
No, the commission,
No,
the
the
city
commission-
commission covers some of the costs.
The budget for this year's is $7,500 for this commission. And that's pretty much the extent of their.
But in the past, it hasn't been that much.
Exactly.
No, in the past, it's been 3,000.
Several
Several years,
2 years.
several years, there's been nothing from the commission, just kind of nothing from the commission from some years, because we were able to cover all things with sponsorship. The city does cover the police protection and the waste disposal.
In the last couple of years, we've also budgeted for this event that is not happening too. Any other questions on Jazz Fest as of now? Do you have a volunteer list place to sign up yet or not?
Volunteer will instead of,
Volunteer, I'm not sure it's fully set up.
with all the
Sir,
spots.
yeah, sir, we haven't gotten back again together, but that will get done. We will. After the 4th of July, it's when we start, so this thing.
Right, I understand, yeah, it's plenty of time, so. Okay, any other questions on Jazz Fest? Walktoberfest,
Money,
money. For
the bands.
We should
bands.
step back and just explain now Oktoberfest to the new folks.
Yeah, oh yeah, okay, so Oktoberfest, Walktoberfest was created by the Webster Trade Association during COVID, so we could, do some events outside. And last year we really, put some serious effort into it, and it became a really big event. I think it was almost competitive with the holiday open house. I don't know if everybody felt that way, but I felt like we were pretty busy.
What
It
weekend is that?
it is,
16th and 17th of
So middle of
October.
October, 3 weeks before the open.
yeah, but the open house is obviously all about Christmas. Where this is, we have bands set up. You know, we reach out to the restaurants, we ask the restaurants to do a special. I'd like to be able to continue growing this event because it's the last event really before holiday kicks off and we all have to have our stores decorated and then everything is based around Christmas. So it's a great way to just drive business in our neighborhood. When I say I want to grow it, I want to possibly add like a flyer or a brochure that includes maybe even a website. Eventually, we probably don't have time this year, but that includes like what the restaurant specials are, you know, what bands are where and what time. The whole point is to like have the businesses like post their own bands, post their own specials. It's a very band driven. Wouldn't you say it's like a music festival almost? It
I
like
guess we
kind of
don't have
like,
any music down where we are at all, so I didn't hear anything or know, you know. we
yeah, it was
do
at the
beer
Turkey
tasting, but we don't,
Garage,
you know.
but you had the beer tasting,
Right.
yeah.
Mhm.
It's really just about getting people to walk around outside.
Mhm.
You know, we've lost some of those because the art, we used to do stuff with the arts, the Webster Arts
I mean, like
Commission.
the open air art
Mhm.
painting, they don't
And
do
then
that
they-
anymore.
Mhm. I mean, they do plein air,
Isn't that outside?
but they used to do like pop-ups
Mm-hmm.
in the business district in October.
Mhm.
We lost that.
It'd be nice to see if you could get, I mean, the restaurants are, I think. They should be reaping most of the rewards, I would think.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
did
and
reach
if you're
out-
trying to draw people to your business, it'd be nice if they funded bands versus
Yeah,
us funding the bands, you know, I mean, I don't ask this commission to fund the beer that I give away. You
no.
know, I mean, and so that's just what I'm
Yeah.
drawing people to our business that way.
Mhm.
Thank you, by the way, for that.
You can explain that to the band. We're talking about it too much.
Last year, we gave each business a credit if they hosted a band. So I think each business got like $150 credit
Mhm.
if you hosted a
Mhm.
band. Which that's already pulling teeth to get people to host, so
Mhm.
not everybody's taking advantage of that. Because
Well,
you
that
have
was
to be
your
in charge
first
of,
year, right?
that was the first year we offered that.
And so maybe it'll grow because of
Yeah.
the success of last year. It'd be
Fingers
easier to get
crossed.
people to do it.
Yeah. So it's just a new event that, you know, we're trying to really
I think
keep
it's
the
a great
steam
event.
going on it. I don't wanna stop.
Right, no.
I also reached out to the Lions Club to see if they'd be interested in doing a barbecue during that day somewhere. And this year they can't do it, but next year they can, because they're also down lots of volunteers and money, so.
Think about that though, competing with the restaurants. So if you want the restaurants to get on board,
Yeah, well, that's why I figured this
You-
year is the year that we'll try to get the restaurants on
See
board.
if they
We,
can carry
it really, the restaurants, it's like pulling teeth to get the restaurants to participate in anything. I love the restaurants, they're great for Webster, but the owners don't really show up to the trade association meetings, they're not. Whenever we bring something up, it's, they don't hop,
what is the time of the event? Is it all day?
it's all day.
So it's lunch and dinner from a
Mhm.
restaurant perspective.
Mhm. And actually, it's all
2
weekend.
days. it's the
Yeah.
whole week.
It's Saturday and Sunday. Yes.
And then we list out like which business is hosting what band at what time.
It sounds,
It's fun.
yeah, it's fun.
And I would like to keep it, like, I'd like to keep growing that. So,
Stacy, the timing of that, I remember last year it was really busy for us because it's linen card. So it was difficult for us. We are already offering 20% off the whole store if people had the Glennon card. So then having anything else in addition to that, I'm not sure what else we did. I know we decorated and
yeah,
Oh.
it's not really like a sale driven day. It
Okay.
is a band, food, tastings of Webster. It's more of like a walkable festival. It's not really about like I don't think we
Any
put
deal
anything on
or-
sale.
Okay,
It was, we hosted 2 bands at Paisley that weekend. Robust hosted. Froyo hosted, so we just basically had a party on our patio the entire weekend. And it really was a lot of fun. And you can always team up with a restaurant and maybe ask them like if they want to provide food and or tasting in your business, like they did a beer tasting with Perennial.
Okay, any other questions on Oktoberfest? Something that's not on here is, of course, Christmas open house. That's November 13th, I believe, as well. Just put on your calendars. We won't talk about that quite yet.
Wait, we do need to decide on if we are giving any money to the Oktoberfest.
Okay. I guess we need to know how much you're asking for.
How much did we get last year, Fran? Do you remember? I think obviously we got a lot more because we canceled a lot of events.
We started out with 2,000, but we added more.
Mhm. I think I got another $3,000 approval. It went to reimbursing all of and we did advertisement with that.
Because we did have a brochure last year.
Yeah, and we
A flyer.
paid for 3 bands that played at the parking garage.
My recollection is that we approved, either $4,000 or $5,000 from this commission to the Trails Association.
I think that that's
about
true.
right.
Because I remember going in and getting approved for 2 and
then
then
going back
having
and
to go
getting more.
back and ask for 3,000 more to get the bigger bands. But I don't think we actually ever used all of it. I think it was just there. Fran would,
No, I thought we did.
oh. I'd have to pull the budget.
I don't know.
So I guess I'm
there
requesting,
There was additional requested and approved after the original 2,000. I don't remember the exact dollars.
I'm requesting $5,000.
Because it also is posters,
Is
banners.
that what
Yeah.
you're gonna need? I mean, I'm not trying to
What's-
pick or
I
anything.
mean-
I'm just like, the reason why I think we kept bumping it up the last time was
Yeah.
because we hadn't had any events for 2 years.
Yeah.
And we kept, it's like, okay, let's just.
I
you
will
know,
tell you, it was the second busiest day of the whole year for me. So yes, I will absolutely 100% ask for as much as we can. We were so busy.
it's a busy day in Webster. A
Mhm.
lot of people.
It's
are
worth
coming.
it. It's
Yes.
worth it. And I promise I will. I mean, like, I'll do a better breakdown of where the money will be spent.
Can you do that as a budget for us before we vote on it?
Yeah, yeah,
Because I think it'd be nice for us to see where the money's gonna be
Yeah.
spent.
yeah.
And then also, then maybe, if we can have that with Christmas, which is the next month, I think, because Christmas we put in.
$5,000.
Is that?
Yeah.
We put in more $5,000 for Christmas.
Nope.
That's it?
Yeah,
Christmas,
because we get most of those sponsored.
Okay.
For the events, you do a load of Christmas advertising that is.
It's also.
That's separate.
Yeah, that's separate.
Okay, correct. I got it.
with the-
Yeah, the October, we do not ask the businesses to chip in, whereas an open house, we ask the businesses to chip in.
Right.
I don't feel like we're ready yet to have sponsors because really it was just me doing the Oktoberfest
Sure.
last year
Mhm.
and I can only do so much by myself.
I understand.
If we had somebody else that wanted to sign up to come up with the sponsorship stuff, fabulous.
It's the hardest part.
I mean, I would do the sponsorship if somebody else signed up to do the bands. I felt like the bands are way harder to get than walking into the businesses and being like, can you give me $100?
Brian Ward,
Yeah, I mean,
Brian does our jazz fest.
Yeah,
He does his volunteer.
he is a volunteer. Maybe we need to like, if he's very passionate about it,
Oh, he is.
he is,
I
or.
would love to give that to somebody else.
He is more than willing to share his database, I'm sure.
I think he'd be involved in.
Yeah.
the
Would
bands.
somebody connect me with them, just like with a like
Mm-hmm.
text that's like, hey, it's Stacy, I'm attaching. Meet so-and-so via
I'll
text.
send you his text.
Okay, thank
Yes.
you.
Text you.
Thank you. Okay, so if I can get some help, then I can go after sponsors. It's probably too late this year, but I can definitely focus on that for next year. Okay, I'll have the budget ready at the next meeting.
And tentatively we'll be ready to go. with that.
Yes.
Okay,
If I need to like get anything spent, can I get $2,000 approved now?
yes.
Okay.
Well, I can't say
Well,
yes.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, thanks.
So we need. All in favor of Stacy approving $2,000 right now, and then she's gonna come back with the rest of the budget and ask for another 3. All in favor?
I,
Opposed? Okay, everybody's good?
I keep forgetting there's people up there.
This will all go through the trade association in terms of billing, right?
Yes,
The fiscal agent.
yeah.
Good. You got something else for Christmas you want to talk about, Ron?
No, there's nothing more on Christmas. I just wanted to put, the date. I just want to make sure everybody had the date down. It's the 13th. Is that correct?
of November.
Christmas open
Second
house?
Sunday.
Second Sunday.
Is that,
Or was it second Sunday?
okay, that's it. That's the 13th.
As late as it can be.
That's good.
So it can actually be the 14th. It's gonna actually be the 14th.
Okay, so BDC update. Tim's not here. Do we have?
Just a brief update. This is Eric again, BDC, a couple quick things. I'll put the screen up again here and show you. So the council approved, the commission, the council approved the budget with $100,000 in what is called the Business Development Fund. There's no idea of what that fund will be spent for. It's $100,000 marked for business development. So BDC is starting on its planning to make some recommendations to the council about how to use that federal American Rescue Plan money specific for the business community. It comes off the business survey and the roundtable that we had. Tim was part of these conversations. Workforce issues rose to the top. Staff attraction, retention, those types of issues, training for workforce, skilled workforce, in some ways unskilled workforce in other ways. So it's a wide variety of things within workforce, but that seems to be rising. Looking at our survey results, what we're seeing the most out of from business owners is a real concern with how they get help. So that is where they're starting. That number is $100,000 plugged into the budget. Could grow. I mean, if the recommendation comes back and there's a great idea and it works, the council has remaining federal funds to be able to put in, and is also looking at other state funds and such that are coming down related to business. So wanted to highlight that for you. Also, the small business program grant from the state for their funding from the federal government is going to open probably in August. We'll see the first round of initial guidelines on that. So we'll be using the city as a clearinghouse hub to help folks understand what those are, be able to apply for those. And nonprofits are open to those grants as well. So folks like the Trade Association, others may have an app opening in that area. So I don't have anything else on BDC. Fran, did I miss anything?
No, that's the big focus.
Okay, there we go.
A city update.
I will be brief. You all can let me get Emerson out of the way here. You can see on the screen our business license report from May. These were new businesses and closed businesses. This is published on our website under the business tab. So if you're interested, feel free to go there. Again, renewals we generally don't put on there. And we didn't put a list of shame for any delinquents on the website. So, but they have been addressed. But this is our normal list we do publish. A couple other things from the city before I turn it over to the council and to Officer Razul. We had a great Juneteenth event down at Barbary Park, just outside the district. The Red and Black Brass Band came and played and recognized North Webster businesses, the history of that. And there's a sign at Barbary Park now with some of that history. So encourage you all to check that out. The budget has passed, so that is all done. You'll see the official budget published. Your budget did not change at all. No amendments, no changes. So that is all done. And July 4th is this weekend. So we've got this little thing called the carnival happening at Eden. Nobody's going to show up, and fireworks Monday night, and there's a parade that's going to go through your district. So on Monday morning, and we're all excited for that, right, Officer Razul? We're thrilled and energetic and rejoicing and happy for this collection of folks that are coming. I just wanted to draw, there was a conversation, Parks had considered running a 5K in front of the parade route, having a race that went on the same route ahead of the run. That did not happen this year. So you probably heard something about it, but there is no 5K ahead of the parade route this year. So
Why did that not go through?
I think just some, well, so one, there's a big difference of opinion. I'm not gonna put Officer Razul on the spot between police and parks about whether or not it would be safe and also accommodable to actually get all the runners into the route and get it done and cleared. I'm sure you
Before
all
the
know
parade.
before the parade, and the ultimate reality is, well, logistic issues of parking and where do runners park and how do they get into a tight area around the park, to get on the route and get ready for it. But that said, I think there's an overall zeal to probably have that race in the future, so we'll just continue working through those.
Trying to do that and trying to get the parade set up at the same time.
And at the same start location. I mean, it's a lot.
Yeah, I can't even imagine.
I can't.
No.
I've worked with the parade
Well,
so
you have to
many
get there
years.
so early for the parade. I don't
I
know.
don't know how it can.
I like
Be
the
done.
visual of it though.
Yeah, but it's a
Right.
4-day event. Like, do we have to do the run the same day?
Oh, why not? We'll put some more chairs out
Yeah,
early,
but-
so.
Let's see.
I know people are
Yeah,
sitting
yeah.
out there at 6 AM watching the runner.
Well, they have all the spectators. That would have been impressive.
Well, not at 6 AM.
Well, they were gonna run it. I thought it was
No.
right before.
No, it would have been probably like,
Well,
9 o'clock.
not, what did we start?
Yeah,
at?
that's
10? 10, so I probably 9:15.
Oh, wow. Oh,
So it was literally the route's already shut down. The real thing was the logistics hub of,
Yeah.
you've got all of Lockwood past the
Okay, I
library,
envisioned
where do
it
you
being,
park
like,
a bunch
really
of runners to get them in and
Well,
stuff.
most runs on.
It's kind of shut down, but there are
That's
still
the other.
Oh, yeah.
aspect.
thousands of people on the
Yes.
street on Gold.
Yeah,
Just
parking
walking
and
across. I
driving
mean,
around.
there's no cars allowed, right?
There would have been a lot of marshaling going on to clear them. So, yeah, so I just bring that up to let you know. Otherwise, things are as have normally been, and with Eden being the new home of the Lions. We did ask, this is outside of your district, just want to make you aware, lots of complaints about lights on overnight. Carnivals usually leave their lights on, so that was a requirement of the permit. They do have to extinguish the lights overnight for the residents in that
By
area.
11 o'clock or something.
By 11:30, so they'll close at 11, so we give them a half hour to extinguish the carnivore lights. But then Monday night is fireworks over near the rec center.
And so and this is going back a little bit, but was the reason Art and Air kind of shut down early was because of lighting issues and stuff?
Nope, that was, they made that decision.
Okay, they just made that
Yes,
decision by
we
themselves.
had
okay.
no hour restrictions that became an
Okay,
issue.
it just seemed like, yeah, it just seemed like it was over early, it was not even close to being dark or anything, and it was just shut down, so.
No, so that was a decision that they made in terms of that. The Lions didn't come with anything beyond 11 o'clock as it was. We made no other restrictions in that regard other than, lights off overnight. So you don't have to have blinking lights going on here outside your office windows. So, yeah. I just want to check, Officer Razul, anything from your perspective?
No, I don't have anything.
All right. Councilmember Smith, anything from you?
Just one thing, I just want to make the commission aware that the council is reviewing the onboarding process for new commission volunteers. We're hoping to make that process a little streamlined, a little bit easier, a little bit more informative for anybody want to volunteer. And it's being done by a subcommittee of the council. So we should be ready to bring some recommendations to the city council, probably by the end of August. I believe a great deal of our commission volunteers, we're in better shape than I think we've ever been as far as having a full slate of volunteers for all of our commissions.
I think that's a great idea. So one thing I've heard from people who have signed up before in the past is that a little, hard to get into sometimes. So, it's not it's time consuming and they're already volunteering. So
You get a free membership to the rec.
you do get a free membership to the rec.
The most underutilized.
I
Thing in the
know,
world.
I know, I've never done it. I paid for it.
But it's only for you, it's only the commission member, it's not the family.
That's why.
Just on that point, Councilmember Smith did bring it up. We are relatively well and full, which is great. The Charter Review Advisory Board will be kicking off at some point this fall. The voters approved that to change the charter. Shouldn't really affect this commission at all, but that will take a lot of time and effort for a group of 9 people to really look at what is the constitution for the city. So when proposing any amendments to the council.
What's going on with that coffee house? That new
Which one?
coffee house, the building across from
Next to Region.
Joe's old building.
Just not outing yourself there, are we? I'm not, I've been seeing business license at my desk, so.
Huh.
Not even
Bizarre.
close to being completed.
I know, but I thought that they decided it was a coffee house, right? So
Well,
it's
A
gotta
lawyer in a
be-
coffee house is what we
so
were
we have to know who's the coffee.
at some point when they file a business license.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, we're still waiting on a bagel shop down the crossroads. That's been 2 years coming, so.
They're
so,
working
know,
every
yeah.
day down there. That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more delayed. We have plenty of coffee here.
No, I know.
We don't need more jacked up citizens.
They've been doing construction in like over 2 months. Have you seen them out there?
Not too much. I mean, occasionally you see somebody up there putting a brick on or something. but
I haven't
Yeah,
seen
it's-
anybody. I'm like, it's not gonna be like that for a long time.
I do, thank you. This prompted a thought, and this is not an issue for the district, but something you should be aware of. I am working with Press Church, the Webster Groves Press Church have had serious issues with their parking. Businesses moving their signs to allow their customers to park in the main lot, not the employee lot. I'm talking about the main lot between Lockwood and not whatever that is. Anyways,
Yeah.
it's Moody, yeah, it is Moody, so, I was thinking the next one back, Marshall,
Can you update this so we know? who's-
no, I won't.
I mean, like off.
No, you can't do that.
I'm not gonna do that, but it's an issue, right? And obviously it's, I mean, it is private property and a lot of people consider it a city public lot, and of course it's not, so.
And you contact them.
They have they contacted
They
us,
contacted
and then we have
business.
started talking with the businesses, so, but it's,
Since post.
I mean, some pedestrians too. It's for sure the business
Yeah,
is
it's-
doing it.
so.
The churches, we work in conjunction with them. We have our Saturday morning shop
Yep.
rides and they let us know when events are coming on and we are super hopefully policing that, like, make sure, because the sign on our side is just a pole, which
Yeah.
you could drive around if you were trying to be sneaky.
Sure.
But we sit out there and watch that. But we've always worked really well with them in the past. And I hope that continues and I hope the business that's doing that would make that not happen anymore because that
Ruins it for
it
everybody.
can be a good, they can be a
Yeah.
great asset. And they're a great neighbor, in my opinion. We've always done.
And then any news about Mari's project?
The 55 Moody. So all permitted and such, so it's a matter of, I don't know if they pulled permits to start construction now, but I would not expect it this summer at this rate where we're at, so.
I got one question, may I? That miscolored concrete,
Did they come and fix it?
and that's not been fixed.
Okay.
It's at the entrance to the parking garage on Gore. They poured gray instead of brown.
Isn't there a way just to dye it?
I'm not trying to say it's our
Well, I-
responsibility to die.
It's gotta match as much as possible.
Yeah.
Right, but I would think there has to be some kind of I know there's concrete dyes. There are people who
Well,
dye their garage floors and all, I mean,
It's probably not permanent. I mean, there's a reason why it comes colored versus,
right,
it'd be a lot easier just to dye it after you pour it.
yeah.
right.
So there's a reason why. I was talking to him while he was doing it and he knew it was supposed to be colored. So
Right, oh yeah, no, I mean,
It probably
it
was.
was in the contract, so I don't know.
It was
I
a
will
mistake
follow up.
probably from the concrete company.
We'll follow up with Public Works and figure out when that's supposed to be remedied. So,
Thank you.
Well, thanks for paying attention to that.
Dan's good at paying attention.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give Dan access to
I
our work
walked
order
in.
system and just enter them directly, so.
The concrete has been a nightmare since
Day one,
day one almost. Colored concrete.
since we covered the brick.
This goes back to like 1990, 89, 90, something like that. When the streets and sidewalks were done.
You want to volunteer for tree duty, Dave? I'll give you that one. There's a tree that some folks will not want down that likely will have to come down at some point. Don't yell at me, friend. So.
Don't you
Yeah.
touch that.
There needs to be some trees replaced too.
Yep,
There are some empty spots where trees should be, and they have been empty for a
And
while.
I'm surprised that they have gone this long without being replaced.
Well, they can't
We don't have employees.
You plant trees in the fall, you don't plant them in the middle of the summer. I mean, you can't, I mean, I hate to say if a tree was taken down.
But this is like 2 years, 3
Okay,
years.
all right.
Some of them.
COVID, it delays everything.
Okay, for new members, this meeting is about how long they usually go. About an hour, but we usually try to look at, sometimes they go a little longer, sometimes they're really a little shorter, but just so you know.
Okay. Don't get here till 5 till.
It also depends on who's here. Depends on who's asking.
Okay, if there's no other questions, we're gonna adjourn the meeting. Emerson, thank you for coming. We appreciate the council's presence here, so. All right,
Thank you all.
thank you.
Adjourn.